I have owned and operated my own HVAC company for the past 13 years, and I have learned a lot along the way. Now in today's video, I wanted to share a few things that I thought were very important that have changed me as a person throughout these last 13 years. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about, and this is in no particular order, but the first one I'm going to talk about is confidence. Now when I first started out 13 years ago, I was scared, I was afraid, I had no clue what I was doing and what I was getting into. I was just doing it. But now, looking back, all those experiences, all of those jobs, all of those relationships, everything that I've been through, I've gained a lot of confidence now knowing what I'm capable of doing. So, if I want to start up a new company, I know I can do it. If I want to grow this company and make it bigger, I know that I can do it. If I want to maintain it and keep it where I'm at, I know that I can do it. So that confidence that just is instilled in me every day, running my company, leading my family, right? Because it hasn't affected me only at work, it's affected me in my entire life. The confidence that I have now of building relationships, meeting new people, doing the bigger jobs, doing jobs that I've never done before, doing jobs that may be too big for me, but I do them anyway. Getting outside of my comfort zone, right? All of that. That confidence has really helped me become a better person. And I think it's going to do the same thing for you. As long as you don't stop, as long as you keep pushing forward, you learn from your mistakes, literally you can't fail unless you stop, unless you quit. In my opinion, that's the only way you can fail at something. So I got the confidence now that I can do whatever I want to do. It may take me some time to figure it out. It may take me some time to, get all the details dialed in, but that's okay. That's part of the process. I know now that I've got the grit and I know that I can handle it. So confidence, that's huge for me. That's a foundation building character, or a character trait, if you will. So moving on to the next one. One thing that took me a while to figure out, because I am a bit stubborn, is to not wear all the hats as a one-man operation. Now, obviously, I can only speak to one-man operations at this point. I haven't grown a large company. I don't have a bunch of employees, so I can't speak to that. But being a one-man operation, I had to do everything. And honestly, I took a lot of pride in that, saying, yeah, I can do everything myself. And the reality was, I was cutting myself short. I was cutting my customers short because me being stubborn, I didn't want to bring in the help that I needed to be able to have things moving along quicker and easier and more efficient. So one of them was I didn't want to pay a bookkeeper, right? I thought I was going to be losing money by having this help. But in all reality, my perspective was wrong. I was looking at it in a wrong way. The reality is I'm losing money because I'm wasting time over here doing something that, one, I don't want to do. Two, I'm not good at. So I could be over here running calls, talking to customers, getting more jobs, making the money, right? I could be bringing in more money and paying someone to do those other things. Delegating what you're not good at, what you don't want to do, and focus on what you are good at. That took me a long time to figure out, again, because I'm just stubborn. So nowadays, I have help in that area, right? I have a CPA, I have a bookkeeper, I have a CRM, right? Talking about softwares. I was stubborn. I was like, you know what? I'm not paying for all these extra subscriptions. I'm going to keep things as simple as possible. I had QuickBooks Online, which is an accounting software. But you can invoice, you can estimate out of that. That's pretty much it. But I was like, you know what? My company is simple. I don't really need anything else. That's what I thought. In all reality, I was completely wrong. Eventually, I talked myself into getting a CRM, and I went with HOUSECALL PRO. And once I started using the software, the communication that I had with the customers, maintaining invoices and estimates, getting them out and getting paid a lot faster, having a better history of your customers, right? It's all in order. You can have pictures and notes, and you're just way better at keeping track of your jobs and knowing what you did and when you did it and any other kind of details that go along with it. It took me a long time to figure out that It is absolutely necessary to have a CRM. Even if you're simple like me, you don't have any scheduling, as far as like employees go, you're just scheduling yourself, you still need it. You look a whole lot more professional. It doesn't cost you that much money. And again, in my opinion, you're probably losing money by not having something like that, because you're going to be a lot slower at what you do. You're going to be having to re-look up, oh, did I send this invoice? Did I get paid? That kind of thing. So a CRM is really going to help you day to day on your operations, keeping things running smooth. Now, along with your CRM is someone answering the phones, right? I've been the guy answering the phones. I'll be in the attic sweating my butt off on top of a roof, in an attic or in a crawl space somewhere. Worst time ever. The phone will ring, your hands are full, in the middle of brazing, whatever, and you got to stop what you're doing and hopefully get to that phone call and still be presentable, still be able to answer that phone and be professional, right? Because you want to make sure you get those jobs. To me, all that kind of stuff is important. You don't want to be breathing all heavy and hello, and not doing a good job at the customer service side when they call. So having an answering service, someone to help you do that, to me is super important. And recently I just teamed up with Free to Grow. They're an AI answering service. And I'm going to tell you what, I was skeptical at first, AI, something new. I don't know much about it. I don't know how well this stuff works. But if you're not living under a rock, you're going to know that AI is coming in from all directions in any industry, but specifically the trades, obviously. There's all different types of apps, softwares, things like that help us do our jobs better. And the Free to Grow is one of those. So I got to listen to multiple conversations where the AI bot is talking to the customer, getting their information, and as the contractor, you can have a script for your AI answering service. So they will talk and respond exactly the way you want them to, which is pretty cool. And not only that, they can adapt to the customer. If they're kind of angry a little bit or they want to talk to a real person, it adapts and it does what it needs to do to land that customer, to get them scheduled, and it's tied into your CRM. So they can literally get this customer on the schedule for you and get it put onto your CRM, HOUSECALL PRO, and you're not being bugged while you're out on the job. That customer was taken care of, and I'm telling you what, game changer. You shouldn't be, in my opinion, in the field working and also answering your own phone calls. Like, you just shouldn't. Unless you are like really, really small and you're not running that many calls, maybe, a couple calls a day or a handful of calls a week, something like that. If you're super chill, then that's fine, right? You could do it yourself. But if you're, summertime, whatever, and the calls are coming in and you're out there working, like, you need help. And the reality is, having an answering service like that is super, super beneficial. So anyway, check it out. Link will be in the description. If you mention Quality HVACR, you'll get 10% off. You can call their demo line and you can have a conversation. You can also listen and figure it out for yourself. Because I think if you do, you're going to be surprised on how well it does. It blew me away hearing the different conversations. So anyway, so that wearing all the hats, that's a big deal. So figure out for you, everyone's different. Delegate as much as you possibly can. Outsource it. Get someone else to do it. Whatever the situation is, get some help. Do not try to do everything yourself. Obviously, starting out, you may have to do that. But right away, you need to be thinking, who can I get to do this? I don't want to do that. So who can I get to do this? So on and so forth. It's going to keep you moving. You're going to be more profitable, and you're going to enjoy your job more. That's the main thing, because if you enjoy it and you're not stressed out, you are going to continue to do it. You're not going to get burned out. And that's what happened to me. I almost got burned out, and I almost said, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to go, work for somebody else, do something different. Thankfully, I did not do that because I love what I do. So get some help. Don't wear all the hats. That's the main takeaway on that. The next thing is understanding that not one size fits all. This took me a little bit to understand. When I first got into owning my own company and running it, I was used to what I saw working for other companies, how they did things, the size of them, kind of the expectation of like what you should build yourself, right? Like, that's kind of the model, because that's what you only know what you know. So it took me some time to realize that, wow, like, this is my company. I can literally customize it and tailor it to my lifestyle and what I value. So what does that mean? Well, that means I don't have to work weekends. That means I don't have to work after hours. That means if I don't want employees, as far as like technicians, installers, and things like that, I don't have to have them. I could keep a low, chill type of client base, right? I can start telling customers, oh, I don't work outside of this area that's really small, right? This is all for me, obviously, right? If you're trying to grow your company big, you may not want to do a couple of these things. But the point is you can do whatever you want to do. You can have the flexibility that you want to have. No one is going to tell you otherwise. But what can happen is that you can fall into this trap where you start wanting to pacify your customers. Their emergencies become your emergencies. I don't believe in that tactic. I don't believe in that way of running your company. They call you because they need your help. Obviously, do the best you can to help them. But you need to do it your way. That's what's most important. You'll be surprised, especially if you do good work. If you're trustworthy, you do what you say you're going to do, all the basic stuff. You will be surprised on how long the customers will wait for you because you take care of them. They'll wait for you. I'll go on vacation. I'll get a service call and I'll tell them, hey, I'm out of town. I won't be back for another 3-4 days or whatever. I have someone, they can run this call for you. It's a different company, but they'll handle it for you while I'm out of town. And they'll be like, oh, no, it's okay. We'll wait for you. It took me so long to realize that I don't have to be a cookie cutter HVAC company. I could do and mold this business to my liking. And man, once I started figuring that out, it was like a weight lifted. I was happier. I was more relaxed. When the phone rang, sometimes there can be some anxiety because you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to fit this call in? Because I don't really want to work on the weekend. I want to spend time with my family. Or I don't want to go run that after hours call, whatever the situation is. Some anxiety can build up there, right? When the phone just rings. All that started to go away because I started taking control of the way I wanted to run my business. Not based off of what I thought someone else should tell me my business should be, even though I created all of that, if that makes any sense. I created that whole facade of what a business should look like, thinking that that's what everyone else wanted from me. Anyway, so think about that. Think about how you want to run your company for you. What looks good for you? How do you want things to be? Map out that. Draw it out. And then create a plan and go for it. And make it happen. Make it a reality. Going back to the confidence. Understand that you can do the way you want to do it. No one else can tell you otherwise. And you're not going to go broke. You know what I mean? Like, that was the fear I had. Oh, if I don't do X, Y, and Z, if I don't go run that call right now, I'm not going to make any money and I'm going to end up, losing my company. It's just those fears, they're not real. You got to push through them and you have to trust the process. But the thing is, you need to understand what that process is first before you can actually trust it, right? And that's what this video is about, is understanding and learning these different processes that can help you navigate the business that you want to have and the life that you want to have. Because ultimately, that is the beauty of being self-employed. You're your own boss. You don't need to do anything that you don't want to do. And that's pretty cool. So, all right, I'm going to go on to the next one. The next one for me really hit home. A lot harder than I expected. Obviously, I didn't know it until it happened, but when I first started out, everything was revolved around me. I wanted to work a certain way. I wanted to do these types of jobs. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have flexibility, so on and so forth. It was always about me. Well, over the years, I started realizing, well, man, the work that I'm doing is actually for others, right? So it's all about building that community. It's serving your community. So when I started tapping into thinking of things outside of myself and thinking about others, man, first of all, I became more passionate about what I do because like, man, this is a great way to be able to help somebody, whether if it's fixing their air conditioner or making a video like this that maybe inspires you to go do something that can change your family tree. I mean, that's what this is all about. So having that serving heart and building that community and focusing on building relationships, right? It's all about the people. That's what it's all about. Once I started figuring that out, things started changing, my mindset started shifting, my decisions started changing. The way I felt when I went to the calls, I wasn't rushed. I felt more relaxed. I could just be there and be present because I knew that by slowing down, I was serving them better. I was going to be able to talk to them one-on-one and, hey, how you doing? How's your day? How's life going? Start building those relationships, right? Oh, yep, I'm going to go take care of your problem for you. And then I'm able to slow down and see the problem better too because I'm not all frantic and needing to hurry up and run to the next call. It's just a whole lifestyle change. Just thinking about serving people, building up a community, building up your relationships, right? You know, one thing for me I've always thought about, I don't know where this came from, but, you know, obviously I work locally, so my customers are local. I always had this idea that, you know, if I run into a customer at a grocery store or, you know, anything like that, I want to feel like I don't need to hide from them, like because I've done them wrong or they're mad at me or, you know, I overpriced them or whatever the situation is. I want to feel like they're going to be excited to see me and I'm excited to see them. And I'm going to ask them, hey, how's everything going? Everything's still good? You guys are comfortable? You know, like having pride in what I do instead of running and hiding, right? And I've heard people doing stuff like that where they got to hide from so-and-so because, you know, maybe they ghosted them or maybe they, the unit stopped working and they didn't go back out there and fix what they said they were going to do or show up or whatever, right? Like, anyway, that's always been something for me. So building those relationships is very, very important because it gives my life depth. It gives my life fulfillment. I mean, that literally is why I do what I do. It's why I stand in front of this camera and do all this extra stuff because I see value in it in the world. I see people needing it. And I'm not a guru by any means. I'm not an expert at anything. I'm not a master at anything. But I have my outlook, right? I have my opinions. I have my way of seeing things. And if I can express that to you in a way that you actually resonate with and it actually helps you out, like, that's what it's all about. So, building relationships. Go out there, start tomorrow, start today. Change the way you look at your customers. Look at them as someone that you truly want to help out, like it's your grandmother, like it's your parents, like you truly care about them. And see how you start changing, how your work starts to change. How you view your work every day will change. And all of a sudden, you're going to start enjoying your job a lot more because you're tied into something that's bigger than yourself. You hear that all the time. But until you start doing it, you don't really understand how true it is. And this is something that's been massive for me. Probably over the past couple of years, I've really been diving deep into that one. So, and then I'm going to close it up with the last one, finances. Finances are huge. I think there's a statistic out there that most companies fail within their first 5 years because of finances. And me being honest, when I started, my finances were horrible, personally and business-wise. I had no clue what I was doing. Was using the business as like a personal, piggy bank, and not growing, not building up, not doing anything the way I should have been doing, right? You get all this money come rushing in, especially in the summertime, right? You're making good money in the summertime. And you just think that all that money is available to you at that time. And it's just not true. You need to be thinking more long-term when it comes to money. Security, that's the number one thing you should be thinking about in the finances department when you're starting out. Think about what do you need to pay yourself, salary-wise, so you can have a comfortable life. You don't need to be broke by any means, but you don't need to be living a lavish lifestyle. Pay yourself a reasonable salary. The rest, push it aside. Let it build up. And then when the opportunity comes and maybe you need to buy a new van, you got the money to pay cash for it. You need to buy some tools, whatever it is. Start building it up. Be smart with your money. That is what's going to allow you to continue on doing what you do to better serve your community, right? You got to be fit to serve in order to serve others. If you don't have it in you, and finances is one of them, if you don't have the money to continue your business every day, you are not going to do very well at serving your customer. If you are stressed out because you are broke and you don't have enough money to buy the unit that you need to go install the next day, you are going to do a shitty job, in my opinion, because you're not going to be focused on what you need to be focused on. You're stressed out about money. So you're going to cut corners. You may not use the best materials on that job because you're stressed out about money, right? There's just so many different ways how finances can deteriorate and they can ruin your life if you don't make the right decisions with that money. So a lot of folks like to worry and focus on making the money, but they never think about, well, what do you do when you got the money? You got to be smart with it. You got to know what to do with it. So anyway, I think that's enough rambling on. I think you kind of get the point here. 13 years, man. 13 years. It's been a wild ride. And it's just the beginning, honestly. But I have learned a ton. And, these 4 or 5 things that I've talked about today, they're just a few of them. A few things that I've learned. And I think they're kind of like the core of maybe not necessarily how to run a business, but things to think about. Like these are big things to think about when you're operating and running your business because they changed my life. So anyway, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys watching these videos. It does mean a lot to me. Comment down below. Let me know, are you a self-employed entrepreneur? Are you wanting to be? What are your struggles? I'm interested to know maybe some struggles and maybe what you've learned in the process. Let's keep this conversation going because I think it's super important. That's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for being here. See you next time.